My name is Savannah. Welcome to YOGATX, and today we're gonna do a little movement, a little breathing to help you relieve some aches and pain in your back. Now, if this is something that you always feel like you're coming back to practice for, to heal your back, to mobilize your back, to improve the function of your back, you might wanna check out our yoga community, Yoga Vita. We're gonna have some really cool exclusive content there geared towards our viewers and what they want. It'll all be ad-free so we can get down to the nitty-gritty and stay focused without any distractions. With that being said, we'll go ahead and start on our hands and knees today. Feel free to grab a towel or a blanket, something to cushion your knees if that's something that you want to care for and consider. I always tell people your real joints last a hell of a lot longer than the fake joints, I've heard. So before you have knee pain, just take care of it. It's the cool thing to take care of yourself now. Come down to your hands and knees and go ahead and untuck your toes so that you feel the tops of your feet pressing down into your mat. And let's just notice when you release the pressure from the tops of your feet and the tops of the shins. Notice what the back feels like. Maybe there's a little dumping in your low back. And then press down through the tops of your feet, the tops of your shins, through the palms of your hands. And you might notice, for me at least, I feel a smoothing out of my lower spine, almost like it's becoming nice and long again. So as you breathe in, lift your toes. Lift your shins. And as you exhale, press down through the tops of your feet, press down through the shins. So finding some small cat and cow just through the low back. Breathing in, toes lift up. Maybe you feel that arch in your low back. Then as you exhale, press down through the tops of the feet, the tops of the shins. Find that curling of your tailbone to face down. Now normally we'll continue just like this. Breathe in. Normally when we do cat and cow movement, what I see a lot in my students and what I tend to feel frequently in my back is all the movement happens right in your middle to low back. So sometimes it'll look like this. We inhale, there's that harsh arc, and then we exhale, and that's where the movement happens. Now we're going to get a little bit more particular about how our spine moves. So come back to a neutral spine. Take all of your attention to your tailbone. And when you breathe in, slowly start to reach your tailbone away from your navel. Then once you feel that the low back is starting to arch, pull the ribs away from your navel and see if you can feel some stretching on your abdomen instead of crunching in the low back. You might even spiral your fingers out, let your chest pull forward a bit. Keep that chest lifted up, your belly stretched. Pause to take an inhale here. Start your exhale with focus on your tailbone. Slowly start to guide your tailbone down so it's facing the back of your legs. Notice it might be a little challenging to keep your chest lifting forward as you start to round through the lower back, middle back, and then rounding through the upper back, the neck, pointing the crown of the head down. So take this nice and smooth with a lot of focus as you breathe in. Just your tailbone starts to reach back. Turn up, belly begins to stretch as your ribs move away from your navel, and then lifting that head. Stay lifted through the chest as you exhale, tailbone moves down. Notice what parts of the spine feel a little sticky, coming into the middle, upper back. Stay rounded there as you inhale, start to tilt your tailbone up. Feeling the chest come forward. We'll take that 2 more times. This is called segmented cat-cow. So that means one piece of your spine has your attention at a time. Cat and cow is one of the most recommended poses for back pain, but it's all about how you do the poses in yoga, not about what poses you do. I could give 2 people the same pose in yoga, and one would say that it exacerbated the pain, and the other would say that it completely relieved the pain. So have some patience with yourself as you find the things that work right for you. Start to walk your right hand over to where your left hand is. And bring your left hand back a little bit further, almost halfway back towards your hip. We're going to do that same cat-cow movement, but with a little side bend. So as you breathe in, tailbone lifts up, chest pulls up. And as you exhale, press down through your right hand, round the whole back. Maybe you feel a little stretch through that right side of your low back. Maybe you feel a big stretch. Inhale. Belly drops, chest pulls forward. Exhale, rounding the back. Take that 2 more times. If this feels good and comfy, you might move your right hand over a little bit more. Try that. One more round. And exhaling, walk your hands back through center. This time, right hand comes off the edge of your mat and left hand moves over where your right hand is. Start off with just a small tilt off center. Notice what happens when you tilt your tailbone up and reach your chest forward on the inhale. Noticing how that exhale can bring you into your tilted cat-cow. A couple more rounds just like that. If this is feeling all in good, after a round or two, you might move your left hand over to the right a bit more, maybe bending the right elbow, pulling it back by the right knee. Let's take 2 more breaths in, 2 more breaths out. And walking your hands back through center, go ahead and step your right foot forward. Come into this position where you're lifted into a lunge. You're not sinking into your hips, but you're actually lifted up. Press down through that top of your foot. And notice when you press down through the top of your foot, gives the low back a little bit of length, versus if you were to tuck your toe, it creates some crunchiness here. So we're going to stay with that pressing down of the top of our foot. Go ahead and wiggle your right foot forward just a little bit without leaning forward with your hips. Breathe in and reach forward through your left arm. When you reach forward through your left arm, how does that reach influence sensation in your left thigh? On your next breath out, like you're pulling your left arm back, feel your pelvis glide around your right leg bone. Pull back nice and strong. Breathe in, reach forward with your left hand. Exhale, pull back with your left arm. So something that you might take note of when you're breathing in, allow your shoulder blade to move away from your spine. On your exhale, allow the elbow to come right underneath the shoulder. Instead of pulling it back and letting your shoulder drop, let the rest of the rotation come from your ribs. One last round like this. Exhale, pull back. I'm going to swivel on my left knee, so my left toes are going to turn behind me. Right forearm comes to my right thigh. Like I have a little marker, draw up your left side of your rib cage. Then I'm going to make a little swoop with my elbow over my head, reach over your head. So we started out in that tilted cat-cow pose with a lot of focus in our low back and our lats. And then here you're breathing into some of the space that you've made. Let your head relax down. One more breath. And on your next exhale, bring your left hand on the outside of your left knee. Take your time getting there. We're going to straighten the right leg. Reach right arm over your right ear. Maybe you have left fingertips up, or maybe you have your hand down. There could be a block underneath there, whatever allows you to stay lifted and proud through the chest. Breath accessible. In any pose we're at, that's our main focus. The breath is present. On your next exhale, pull your right elbow back. Come into a half cactus arm. Right palm facing in the same direction as your chest. Bring your right foot off the ground. Bend your right knee. Right foot faces behind you. So we'll make a rhythm. Breathe in. Right leg goes long. Right arm goes long. Exhale. Left glute is on to stabilize your pelvis. Right knee bends. Right elbow bends. One more round. Exhale, pull back. Stretch out long, bring your hands towards the back of your mat. Swivel your left foot so it's behind your left knee, and then press up into a downward facing dog. Bend and straighten your legs a couple times. This is a nice place to bring some attention towards your calves. As you press one heel down towards the ground, bend your opposite knee, and then we'll switch. And when you're ready, go ahead and guide your left foot forward behind your left hand. Lower your right knee down, press down through your right shin, come up towards your tall lunge. Go ahead and check in that you've got that active press down through the back of your leg. Tailbone is guiding down, right glute is on your next breath in. Reach your right hand forward like you're pushing something, someone away. As you exhale, right elbow comes back. Stop when it's underneath your shoulder. Feel the rest of the rotation come through the rib cage. Breathing in. Turn forward, press forward with your right hand. See if you can keep that right glute active the entire time we're moving through our pose. Inhale fills the ribs as you press forward. Exhale hugs the navel back to your spine as you bring your hand back. One last round. Pause here. Lower your hand down to the ground or swivel your right foot behind your right knee. However you can get here, make it work for you. I'm not going to rush you through this. When you're ready, make sure that left ankle, left foot is placed in a good stabilizing way, and then lower left forearm down. Just leaning over here, you might start to feel that opening up of the front of the hip, the side of your body. We'll take a breath in, reaching that right arm over our right ear. Relax your neck here. Take a couple breaths in through the nose. If it helps, maybe out through pursed lips. Last round of breath. And then moving right hand on the outside of your right knee, that right foot is behind us, and we'll lengthen that left leg out long. Turn your right fingers in whatever way feels best for your shoulders. For some, it's going to be straight. For some, it'll be a little bit turned back. So find that position. You can always use a fist as well if your wrist doesn't like this. When you're ready, take a breath in. Left arm comes over your left ear. As you exhale, lean into your right shoulder. Pull your left elbow back. Bend your left knee. As you breathe in, straighten out through the side of your body. Exhale, side body engages. 2 more times. If you want a little bit more of a challenge, maybe you try to relax your neck. As you exhale, left elbow pulls back, left knee bends. 1 more round. Let this be challenging. And then lower left knee down. Underneath your left hip, take a fresh breath in, reaching your arms up. Tops of the feet are facing the ground. As we exhale, we'll wrap our hands behind us, palms face behind. Bend your elbows, sit your hips back. Stopping wherever you feel most comfortable, and then using your breath in to sweep you back up again. Exhale, low belly hugs in, hands sweep back. Maybe your gaze turns down to the ground or towards your navel. Take that 3 more rounds with the breath. Last round here. And as you exhale, lower your hands down, come onto your hips. And let's bring our legs over towards the left. So most of our body's weight is on the right hip. Now for back pain, I always focus a lot on the sides of our body. When the sides of our body get crunched, it really affects our ability to breathe. And if we're not breathing well, then we're not moving well. So breath is always my top priority. Breath is the boss in my practice. We'll turn our rib cage to the right, walk your hands over towards the right. If this feels a little intense for your body, asking it to twist in that direction, know that you can always walk in the direction of your right knee, and that'll target the stretch a little bit more into the back of your hip. Maybe you get curious and walk your hands over, lower. If you find one spot that you really like, you want to sink into, stay there, stay with that. If you're really about active strength, active control. You might do exactly like I'm doing, but without your hands. So how deeply could you come into the pose and press yourself out of? And let's go ahead and take a couple moments to just rest where we're at. Keeping the focus on the breath and the breath's ability to expand along that back band of your ribs. And slowly walk your hands back towards your hips. Bring your legs in front and over towards the right. We'll do the same thing on this side. So once you get your seat nice and stable, you're where you want to be, you can play with turning to the left, walking your arms along that way. This can be a really nice spot for you just to pause and breathe in. If you're curious and you don't want to dive too deep into any one variation because you're seeing what's going to fit you best today, good for you. Test it out. Now in yoga, you see a lot of passive flexibility where you kind of just come into a pose and dump into it without much activation. So if you like to keep things active, notice how far you could go with that ability to still pull yourself out. I can go way farther down in a passive manner than I can always pick myself up. We want strength wherever our flexibility lives so that we are strong all the way to our end range. Really important for back pain to know that there's stability in the body. Most of the pain that we have in our back is our back's effort to try to hold on and protect us from overdoing stuff. A lot of time we see pain as a nuisance, but it's really a request for attention. To look in, see what needs to be addressed, what needs to change. Slowly pressing your hands back towards your hips. Take your chest to face forward in the same direction as your knees. Lower yourself down on the ground. So scoot your hips forward, come all the way down to the floor. Open your arms out wide. And then your next exhale, let your knees go over to one side. Breathing in as the knees come up. Exhaling as they move over. And once your knees come back through center, find your feet underneath your knees. Reach your hands alongside your hips, pausing for a breath in. As you exhale, as if you had suspenders on, feel the front of your hip bones hug up towards the front of your rib bones. From there, press down through the feet, elevate your hips just a little bit. Take a breath in, stretching your arms up. Feel your shoulder blades come off the ground. As you exhale, open your arms out wide. Bring your arms to a hover point. Inhale, arms lift up, shoulders pick up from the mat. Exhale, arms come out wide. Try that 2 more times. Glutes are on. And breath is moving. Back of the neck is as relaxed as it possibly can be. And then on your next inhale, lower your arms over your head. Keep your arms over your head as you slowly roll your spine back down to the ground. Hug your knees towards your chest. Give yourself a little love. Rock the body from side to side. We'll bring the hands behind the back of our legs now. And let one heel reach up. Let's start with the right heel as you breathe in, flexing your toes back. If you got any desire to deepen your hamstring stretch here, you might slide your hands up. And exhale, hand comes to the back of the knee, right knee comes back towards the chest. Breathing in, left heel lifts up, toes flex back, maybe slide your hand up. And exhale, back down. Now try this with your eyes closed. Inhale as one leg inflates up, Exhale as it deflates. Next time you exhale, bring both knees into your chest. Reach both legs up towards the ceiling on your inhale. Both arms come over your head. Exhale, hands down by your sides as the knees come towards the chest. Just like that, breathing in, full body expansion, legs up, arms overhead. Exhale, hands by your sides, knees come in. One more time. This time, slow your exhale down as long as it could take for you to bring your hands down and knees into your chest. Go with that. Release your feet down one at a time. Feel the breath enter your body without movement this round. And the breath alone is the most healing aspect of your yoga practice. Remember, if you don't breathe well, you don't move well. Your breath is that subtle movement that animates and enlivens your body all day. Prioritize the breath, get the breath balanced, and everything will move towards a balanced state. Stay here for a while and enjoy your breath. Enjoy your time on the mat with the support from the ground. Or if you're ready to end your practice, take your time doing so, rolling over to one side, letting the body rest on the ground for a moment or two. It's really funny sometimes when I'm teaching a yoga class, I'll notice students are rushing into yoga. And essentially, you're rushing to sit still, which is a little ironic. And then I'll see when folks finish class, they jump right back into that speed, stuff everything in their yoga mat, roll their mat up, get out of the parking lot before everyone else. So I challenge you, after this class, see if you can integrate this slowed down speed into the rest of your day, taking your time to come back up. Maybe you pause again for a couple breaths. Maybe just some arm movements, coming back into your body, back into your senses. Let's take one breath, reaching our arms over our head. As you exhale, bringing your hands down by your side, a little bit behind you, and then just mobilizing your neck, looking from side to side. And palms come together, thumbs might rest on your chest or in your lap. Thank you so much for practicing with me. I'm curious to see about how some of these interesting moves that maybe you've never played with before affect your back. Sometimes we think that, oh, that's a side bend. That doesn't have anything to do with our back. Or what does her balancing on her hand and knee have anything to do with my back? Try it out. Like I said, let it be challenging and let me know how it goes. Namaste.